Which university do you go to? It's a big question. I'm sure it is, right? When I went to university, only 3% of the population went to university. I'm here in Uzbekistan for 20 years. I'm a rector of 2 universities. I'm going to give you a different view than what your mother, your father, your babushka, your teacher, everybody else tells you to do. Don't worry too much about your profession. We all have talent, but some people don't have talent that's going to produce anything. When my graduates at Westminster did law, half of them or more are not doing law. They're teaching English, they're a salesperson, they're a project manager. What faculty? Don't worry too much. Choose something you're really interested in. Don't go abroad for 3 or 4 years, stay here. Finish your undergraduate, then go abroad. Hands up if you're here. Do you get the joke? Hands up, yeah? Hands up if you're not here. It's a bit stupid, isn't it? Yeah? It's what you call critical thinking. Yeah? It's critical thinking. Critical thinking is the basis of a university education. All right? So if you put your hand up to say you're here, you're doing okay, that's 50%. If you didn't put your hand up when I said, are you not here, you've got 100%, so you can go to university. Right? You've passed. Forget IELTS. This is the easy bit. You know, it's easy to go to university. People think it's hard. But actually, it's quite easy. Most people can go there. The problem is, if I use the technology properly, let me see. Which university do you go to? Right? This is the problem. It's like, oh, my mum says I've got to go to university. My babushka says I've got to go to university. My teacher says I've got to go to university. Which one? It's hard, isn't it? You're kind of like 17, 18, going, big decision in my life. Soon I'll get married. That's even worse. Never mind. Then you have children and your life is finished. Exactly. And they grow up like you and you're like, bloody hell, look at that. I wish I was still 18 thinking about which university. It's a big question. I'm sure it is, right? It was for me at your age. Now, when I went to university, oh God, so long ago, dinosaurs were walking across the earth, right? Only 3% of the population went to university, right? I got paid to go to university. A stipend, it was good. It was free, right? And I got into university and went, how did I do that? What happened there? And I went, phew, got in, right? And then, you know, I realized, was this a good choice or not? So we all have these questions. And now after a long while, I'm here in Uzbekistan for 20 years. Right? I'm a rector of 2 universities, first deputy rector at Westminster, principal of a school, consultant to blah, 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 and I'm going, did I really want to do that when I was 18? Did I really want to be here? Did I think I'd be here? Did my university put me here? I have no idea. And I don't think it makes any difference. So today, this morning, I'm going to give you a different view than what your mother, your father, your babushka, your teacher, everybody else tells you to do, right? I'm not going to tell you to do anything. I just want you to think a little bit, okay? So, Which university? I'm from Team University. Okay, you can come. I'm not going to sell Team. It's entirely up to you where you want to go. It's your choice. Oh, shit. I hate these things. It's bright but messy. You've got now in Uzbekistan, just think about Uzbekistan, 140 universities. When I came here 20 years ago, there was like 80, 70, right? And most of them were useless. Corrupt, boring, old, the toilets stank. There was no toilet paper in the toilets, there was no soap, right? There was no heating, there was no air conditioning. The canteens were awful. Okay, the rector had a big, huge belly, right, and dressed up in a suit about 20 years old. He bought in 1962. He was a he, usually about 152. So the rector was really old. Yeah, and he went, The professor, if any good, would smile, usually would tell you what to do, right, like school. Read this, do that, write that, repeat that, tell me what I know already. And, you know, I started Westminster 20 years ago. And people going, oh, we have to think for ourselves. Wow, this is new. So the world has changed in 20 years. You've got 140, lots of new ones as well as old ones. Some old universities are becoming new ones. They're going to change. So some of the old universities that had bad toilets, no soap, rectors with huge stomachs and a big tie, nylon shirts that stank, oh God, they're horrible, are changed. They're younger, right? They're more savvy, they're more hip. Look at this place here, right? This is a new beginning for education. So there's a new challenge for you. And I'm sure your parents going, or your grandparents, well, in my day, when I studied at Narcos, correct? Yeah. You know, and you're like, oh, shut up, Grandma. I like you, but please shut up. Correct? Okay, I'm not your grandma. I don't want to be. Never wanted to be a grandfather, and I am. I'm like, I have grandchildren. And my daughter, her second child, said, what do you want to be called? I went, Alan. She said, but you're a grandfather. I said, I know, but my name's Alan. Grandfather is a role. It's not me. My mum named me Alan. She didn't name me grandfather. Right? So, my eldest grandchildren call me Alan, and the youngest ones call me Grandad. And I'm like, okay, fair enough, you'll change, right? Maybe later on you'll call me Alan, because then I'll say hello. Grandfather means, oh shit, is dengue, correct? So, how do you make this choice? There's lots of choices. I'm going to give you two different views. I hate this machine. Right. Here's a version of your grandmother. Right? And she goes, which faculty do you want to do? And you're like, I don't know. I'm interested in art. You can't do art, it's nothing, right? Correct? But I like art. No, do something practical. What's that? Go for a profession. You can't be an artist. Why not? What's the problem with being an artist? Some of them make lots of money. There's an artist called Banksy. I don't know whether you ever come across him. Banksy puts graffiti on walls, right? His works sell for millions, right? And he's painting them on the wall. He doesn't even have a studio. It's free. He's making millions. So why not study art? Go and study business. I've been the dean of a business school. I first invented the business degree in the UK universities. I've taught an MBAs. I've got an MBA. It's good. If you like it, do it. But it doesn't turn into a profession. Okay, if you like art, it is great. You may not be a very good artist. I'll give you a story. My daughter wanted to do drama, right? She liked herself too much. And she wanted to do drama at university. And I'm like, I couldn't say to my daughter, you're not very good, can you? My father's a bit difficult to say to the daughter, look, you really are crap at acting, but never mind, you can do it, dear. You know, I used to have, as a father, I had to go and watch my daughter perform on stage, and I'm like, when does it end? Can I go? Yeah? It's like watching children sing. Yeah, very good. Or do ballerina, you know. Very good, you make a good ballerina. Anyway, we all have talent, but some people don't have talent that's going to produce anything. And my daughter was great, but she's never going to be an actress. So I said to her, go and do business, because that's all I knew. Oh, what the hell for? I said, then you could practice being an actress, you know, at university. Yeah, well, so she hated me for 2 years. And it cost a hell of a lot of money. Because for 2 years, it's like, my phone's not working. Okay. I haven't got any money for the contract. All right. You made me go and do business. Oh, okay, then I'll pay it. And I was like, guilty money, guilty money, right? And then she went off and did a practice, an internship for 1 year in public relations. And she came back and was like, yeah, I found my profession. Because public relations is like acting. She writes wonderfully, right? She's good at English. She's got a good mouth like me, right? And so the last year of university she enjoyed, because she knew what she was going to do, and it wasn't going to be acting. But she didn't know she was going to be in public relations. And now, at 40, how old is she? I think she's 41. Getting old, isn't it? That's why I keep telling you, you're getting old. You're getting fat and old. It's dreadful, isn't it? Fathers with daughters. Anyway, she's now Director of Communications for the biggest brand in the UK. It's actually a bread company called Warburton's. It's bigger than Coca-Cola. In the UK, people know Warburton's more than they do Coke. And she's the Director of Communications. She's not an actress, right? Asking her at 18, she wanted to be an actress. And she hated her father for 2 years, who supported her, because she made her do a business studies degree. Okay, and now when she says at 41, Dad, I'm really glad I did business studies, I'm going, I told you so. No, I don't. You can't do that. It's like, give me back the money. So when you're here, sitting here, you're like, where do I go? It doesn't matter. Honestly. Don't worry too much about your profession. It's, you know, I've taught law. I've had law. Lawyers don't become lawyers. Actually, law is not a good degree to become a lawyer. Stupid, isn't it? Maybe in Uzbekistan, but internationally, legal companies like engineers. Legal companies want physicists. Legal company wants historians. They don't want lawyers. You can train to be a lawyer, but do something more interesting beforehand. And law, when my graduates at Westminster did law, half of them or more are not doing law. They're teaching English, they're a salesperson, they're a project manager, they're an artist, they're a fashion designer. They're everything else but a lawyer. So it doesn't really matter what faculty you choose or what profession you want to be. When I was here many years ago doing the same thing, and usually the audience, the men would be in nylon blue shirts and black trousers, okay? Your sister had ironed the shirt before. And the women were really in miniskirts, high heels, fantastic. Well, never mind. Now, when asked at the end, everyone goes, if I come to your university, where would you place me? And I'm like, what do you mean, place you? In other words, what job would you give me? It's not my time to give you a job. So, what profession, what faculty, don't worry too much. Choose something you're really interested in, okay? That will get you out of bed in the morning. You know, the worst thing is going, I've got a lecture at 10 o'clock on Monday. Do I get out of bed? My mother's knocking on the door, asking me when I'm going to get up, correct? My grandmother's telling my mother to go and get me out of bed, correct? Yeah? And you're like, I don't want to get out of bed because I've got a 10 o'clock lecture with Alan Frans and it's going to be boring. So why should I go? You need something that motivates you. All right? So, yeah, it's difficult, but think carefully. Don't worry about the profession. You'll find that, whatever it is in the future. I wanted to drive trucks. When I was kind of your age, I'm like, I want to go on the road and drive trucks. Here am I being a stupid rector in Uzbekistan. How did that happen? I don't know. International local. In Uzbekistan, if you're staying in Uzbekistan, you have a choice. Do you go abroad or you stay here? Now, I would say, just be careful. If you're going to go abroad, it's expensive, usually. And for 3 or 4 years, okay, you might have a good time. But it's a lot of stress. I would always say to my students, don't go abroad for 3 or 4 years, stay here. Finish your undergraduate, then go abroad. Why? You can escape getting married. You escape getting you can just run away from home. You know, you can go and do something interesting. Hey, come on, you run away from home. When you finish your undergraduate, you're like, I can't get married just yet. I want to do my master's. And I've got to go to X or Y for about 4 or 5 years and then come back. You know, finish your undergraduate and then go. And it's cheaper, you know what you want to do, and you can choose the place you want to go to. Because undergraduates, you don't choose the place, they choose you. Because it's about the price. Because if you want to study in the UK, it would cost you $25,000 to $30,000 a year. For 3 years or for 4 years. That's a lot of money, right? Okay, you can go to Lithuania and it's $1,000. But, you know, it's Lithuania. Or you can go to China on a scholarship. Okay, right, okay, it's China. Right, it's a bit difficult. So, I would always say, for your first degree, stay here. It's great because you've got a choice. International, okay, places like Westminster, MDIS, team. I would call those international Webster because they give an international qualification, right? I make a distinction. I don't know what international university really means, but if they give an international qualification, you can get the same piece of paper after 4 years and it costs you $20,000 as opposed to $150,000. What's the point, right? You get the same piece of paper, exactly the same piece of paper, guaranteed to be the case, and in fact it's cost you a lot less and a lot less stress, and usually you do better, right? Now, okay, if you have to go away, you go away. But for the first 5 years, I would always stay here. Okay, you have to suffer your mother. Well, I'm going to go to the next slide in a minute. The next one is ranking. Everyone goes, what's your ranking? I'm like, what do you mean? What's your ranking? I'm like, Okay, which ranking system? Ranking systems make money from ranking universities. They're advertising. So don't believe any of them. Right? That's not because we're no ranked. Don't believe any of them. They're a pack of lies. Right? Because they don't measure what you're going to value. Right, for example, top universities, they rank publications per member of staff in Scopus journals. And you know what? Those members of staff can't teach because all they do is write papers. So what's the point? Right? You go there for 3-4 years, spend a lot of money for people you never see who's given your ranking scores up high. Cambridge, LSE, Harvard. Come on. You're being taught by postgraduate students. Sorry, but that's what you do. Professors don't profess. They write, get money from research councils, and push the university's ranking up high. So everybody goes, oh, I want to go to the top university. Top universities are not top for teaching. And that's what you need as undergraduate. Okay, if you want to do a PhD, go to a high-ranking university. But undergraduate, actually, the lower the rank, the better the teaching. Because the staff don't rank high, therefore they focus on teaching. So don't worry about ranking. Westminster here is ranked number 1, 2 in Uzbekistan, correct? The University of Westminster is ranked 160th in the UK. It's bottom. It's rubbish. Yeah. MDIS. I won't talk about MDIS, but MDIS had a university called University of Wales that doesn't exist. Because you know what? It was corrupt. I tell you that for no, it wasn't MDS's corrupt, the University of Wales was. It sold degrees. But it was the University of Wales, wow. University of England, University of Uzbekistan, what is it? The University of New Uzbekistan, forget it. I said it, I actually said it. If you call a university like that, then there's not going to be really much new about it. Now, so ranking, don't worry about. The only way ranking makes a difference is because your parents go to your neighbours and their friends, my daughter's going to. And they're going, oh, really? Well, my son is going to. Oh, my God, really? It's not very good in the rankings, a bit lower. Bitch, right? Or your babushkas sitting in the mahala, sitting with their other babushkas going, where's your granddaughter going to then? Westminster? Ah, it's corrupt, you know. Because mine's going to MDIS. Look, you know what it's like in Uzbek mahalas, right? So that's what all ranking means. For you, in this audience, it's nothing, right? Because the systems that use QS, TS, or everything else is only devised to sell advertising and consultancy. Now, I'll tell you, I know lots of rectors in the UK, vice-chancellors, and they all go, we are number 200 in the left-handed donkey-riding competition ranking system. Right? There is a ranking system for everything. I am 355th in the chair-sitting ranking system. They're stupid. So don't worry too much. And therefore, the grey-haired lady on the right-hand side is telling you all kinds of things. Yes, you have to listen, okay? Take note, be careful. Now, what should you think? Okay, oops. I'm 70, so I'm 70, but this is what students tell me. They want something exciting. They want to go to the university and go, today I'm going to go and meet my friends, and we're going to go for a game of chess, and we're going to have a game of football, and we're going to go for a coffee and have lunch, right? And we're going to have a good chat and a moan about my mother, and we're going to have a moan about my grandmother, and say how long we're not going to start so we don't get married. Oh, and we'll go to class. The last thing they talk about is going to class, right? Oh, well, it's an excuse to go to university is to go to a class, right? Because universities don't teach all the time, right? The maximum time on an international course is 12 hours a week. It's nothing. And you can choose to go or not. So why would you want to... Now, I used to find in Westminster, students wouldn't come to class, but the university was full. All right. We must be doing something right, and we must be doing something wrong. And when my colleagues used to complain about the students not attending, I'm going, it's your fault, because they're in the university. So why don't they go to the class? Because it's not exciting. It's boring. Right? This is important. You need to choose a university for this experience. Look, it's important. This is an experience here, correct? You come here because it's a bit different. It's not like school. You don't have to wear a uniform. You come in here, right? You can relax. You can be yourself. Travel opportunities. All the students ask for, can we go and work and travel? Can we go and work and travel? Can we go and work and travel? Can we go and work? I'm going, you can go and be a slave if you want, right? Go and work in Burger King, McDonald's, and be a slave. It's good. You'll learn a lot about life. That's fine, but come back again, right? Because if you go and stay, you'll never travel anywhere in the world because they will never give you a visa. This is great. Universities, if they give you chances to travel, student exchange, work and travel, internships, wonderful. You get a visa, okay, Uzbekistan passports are not the best thing. UK passports are going to be awful. Don't worry about it. COVID is killing it. Uzbek passports, not brilliant. You have to get a visa to go everywhere. If you get a visa once at 18, you'll get a visa and come back, you get a visa for the rest of your life for everywhere else. I can tell you that because that's what they tell me. We've been once, we go twice, we go 3 times, we come back, we can then go again and go again and go again. And when you go and do your master's after your first degree, you have these visas. And the evidence is that you've been a good Uzbek citizen and come back. So they'll give you a chance for a scholarship. Travel is important. Do it. I traveled. I worked on a farm in Finland, a farm in Norway. I did all kinds of things when I was a student. Okay? They were horrible jobs. Well, actually, they were great jobs. But it taught me something about life. Nothing to do with the university. Fun. You've got to go and smile. If you're not smiling, I look around the university, and if they're not smiling, I'm thinking something's not happening. Right? We're not doing our job properly. Because if you're not smiling, you're like, I've got to be in it, it's so serious. Life at your age is not serious, right? It is, and it isn't. Friends. The one thing Uzbekistan is great for is the gap. Correct? You go and have a gap. And you chat. This is great, isn't it? Gap. The whole life revolves around having a gap. I thought it was a nap, but it's a gap. And all my graduates from Westminster, I meet all over the place, okay? Students from team. And they are like a network. This is the best thing you're going to get. Important part of that, the experience you share, all right? The values you share, the ideas and hopes you share, frustrations you share, and the friends you share, okay? And you learn all of these things. The most important thing is to know how to eat ice cream properly, right? And you do not eat ice cream from a cone with a spoon. Right? Ice cream is messy, especially in Uzbekistan because it's hot. And if you have ice cream, it dribbles over. Yeah? It's like this. It's like if you have your little nephews or nieces, they've got ice cream. Soon it's just covered, isn't it? And I saw the other day a mother picking up the ice cream and licking it all around and giving it back again. And the child says, "What the hell are you doing touching my ice cream?" Look, you'll have to learn some soft skills at university. The most important thing you're going to do in the next 4 years is learn some soft skills, what you're good at, inside yourself. Take every opportunity to do that. Model United Nations, clubs, music, whatever, join in. Don't sit on the fence and go, "I have to study, I have to study." You don't have to study. This is a rector telling you. Listen, I'd love all my students to study before they come to the lecture, to do their assignments 5 weeks before it's set, to be so intelligent to ask millions of questions, to come on time to the classes, but they don't do. Right? 20% come to classes because it's interesting and they've got nothing else to do, and it's sad, right? Because they listen to me. Everybody does their assignment at the last minute, right? Half an hour to go. Shit, they have not printed it. Everybody does that. Very few people do it before. If they are, they're not very interesting people. Okay? Nobody prepares for class. Nobody. It's like, wow, yeah. Asking me a question. Okay, you need to be curious. One thing I would want you to try and think about is to develop your curiosity. Why is that happening? At university, I used to read Dostoevsky, okay, because I was curious about the Soviet Union and Russia. I didn't know anything about it in the 1960s. But I read Dostoevsky, Tolstoy, etc., because I was doing economics. Economics was my love at school. I loved economics at school. They did extremely well, the best in the class. At university, final year in economics, this is totally boring. And so I went from here down to there. But you know what? I played rugby for my country. I'm an international rugby player. Okay? I played badminton to regional level. I really enjoyed myself. I met so many girlfriends, I don't believe it. Right? Last year was fantastic. Okay? I had to rename myself because I knew so many females. I had to change my name 3 or 4 times because they were chasing. I knew, but never mind, folks. But important thing is, this is what you should be looking at. Sorry. Pretend when your mother and your father and your grandmother go, yeah, ranking, yeah, let's go to the best one. Can you afford it? Yeah, let's go to the top university. It's really expensive. And then you go, well, no point in going to the top university, grandma or granddad. I'll save you money and you can give it me. Right? I'll stay here. And it's cheaper, and you can give it me. You can buy me a car. It's a good idea, isn't it? Instead of going abroad, buy me a car. Give me a new iPhone. Well, it's much cheaper giving me an iPhone than send me to London. Correct? So, hey, learn your skills of negotiation. And think about it. This is important. And when I meet people like you and with a parent, it's always interesting. The parent's like, don't know what to do with her. I don't know what to do with her. I'm like, what are you interested in? Music? Oh, great, fantastic. And the mother's going, really? That's important that she wants to play the violin? Yeah, I used to play the violin. It's wonderful, you can do that at university. And the mother's going, that's not what he should say. But then the mother goes, actually, it's not bad, really. Because he's persuading her to come to university and play the violin. So the mother's going, well, at least my daughter might get something, right? So look, when you learn some of your manipulative skills with your parents, comes in handy. You know how to cheat your mother, don't you? Do you? I'm not too sure about that, but my mother knew everything. I don't know what it was about. It was pretty obvious she knew everything. I smoked at an early age, and my mother goes, "You've been smoking." I'm going, "How do you know that?" Not realizing, I stank like a packet of cigarettes. So it's pretty obvious. So think about it carefully. This is important. This is more important. Which one does it really matter? I'd love you to come to team. What is the difference between team and the rest? Not a lot. We have the same standards, LSBU as a university, same as Westminster, same as MDAS, same as Webster, same as everybody else. Actually, no different. You get a piece of paper which says LSBU, right, from the UK, no different. The only difference is, I think, hey, you look at the rector from Westminster, or MDIS, and would they stand in shorts and give a presentation? Not really, would they? So there's one difference. The head of marketing also wears shorts. There's another difference. Okay? This is a symbol of our culture, right? We are serious about education, but we're serious about you having fun. We're going to be smaller than the rest. Westminster's 4,000 students. You're going to Westminster and there's 1,500 of them the first year. More, probably 2,000. A lot. It's okay. Big campus, nice and green. The same with MDIS. Webster's and American University, different curriculum, but the same. So, think about what it's like, what you want to be like. We're a new university. Yes, there's a risk. It's not like Westminster that's 20 years. But I tell you, there's a risk being old as well. When you get older, you become more conservative, right? You become more traditional. So sometimes it becomes more boring. I'm not saying that, because Westminster's a great place. So is MDIS, so is Webster, so is BMU. They're all okay. So it doesn't really matter. Once you've made your choice, be committed, right? And come with a smile wherever you go. And don't forget, if you have made a mistake, you can always change it. You're only 17, 18. I went to university at 20, right? I was an old man. Didn't make any difference to me. So don't worry. If you make a mistake, you can always go back, because you can always find another alternative. I hope you've been interested in this. And now you can ask any questions. Okay? Doom. Silence. Great, I can go home. Can I go home? Can I go home and put my trousers on? Okay, any questions? No? Good? My favorite color is blue. I have 3 children, 4 grandchildren, and my daughter has a dog. My ambition is to have some chickens, and I want a dog, but my wife won't let me have either. So she says, if you want chickens, you can go and live on a farm. I'm like, we've got a big house, you can have chickens. No, you can't. And for a dog, you can go to your daughter's and walk the dog. Well, why can't I have my own dog? No, you can't. I'm 70, and my wife's 70, and she still tells me what to do. But she tells me she loves me still. Well, that's always a compensation, isn't it? Okay. So, any other information you'd like to know?
Why did you want to ride tracks?
Why?
Exactly tracks.
Track.
You mentioned that you wanted to ride tracks.
Oh, trucks, yeah, I don't know. Well, hey, look, I was born in 1951, right? I know you can't remember that far back, and it was the last century. But I suppose the trucks were like the old Hamas, you have here. They're renovating some of those. They look really cool. And those trucks, it's like when you're a child, you draw a truck, and it's a standard shape, isn't it? Same as a car. Well, all the trucks, all the cars look like you were drawn by a child. So at 5 years old, I was drawing trucks and cars. And when I got bigger, I'm like, the same. I mean, I don't like what I drew. They've taken my design. They've stolen my design. I want to drive it. So because also I can think in the UK, I come from a very small industrial town. And it's a bit like Uzbekistan. You felt as though you had to escape, but you couldn't. All right? Because nobody would accept you. No. From witness? No. It's a bit like Uzbekistan. Where are you from? Uzbekistan? No, go back. So I used to come from this small town, and to escape it was a dream. And I didn't know how to. So the only way was to get on a truck. All right? And I have to say, my father kicked me. And my father kicked me, and he was great, because he didn't direct, he just says, you're going to get educated. And I'm like, really? Yeah. And he just made me go, he made me study. Not made me study, but he just pushed me into the position where I had to. So that's why I wanted to drive a truck, and I still do. Okay. Any other questions? Oh. Right. I could go in some technical, right? The thing, it's quite a difficult one, that's true. You can listen to your friends who have been there. It's a fair point. Word of mouth is important, okay? I would say you would triangulate, in quality. So you listen to your friends. MDS is rubbish. MDS is good. Webster's rubbish. Webster's great. Team is new. No, it's not. You listen to them. Then you listen to what any news media or anything else is saying. The government, everybody else. Okay? This is a legal university, this is not, blah, blah, blah. And then you look at the university and say, and read what it says. And it's a difficult one because here is quite difficult. A good quality university will only say what it is able to say, not what it promises. If a university promises, don't believe them. If a university says, you can go on a Cambridge University degree, or let's say there's a university that says, our curriculum, our degree is designed by the Massachusetts Institute of Technology, number one in the world in engineering. Really? Our entrance exams are set and marked by the University of Cambridge. Really? I wonder what that university is. Both are lies. And you realise, because University of Cambridge does not set exams. Cambridge Assessment does, which is not the University of Cambridge. Massachusetts of Technology does not design curriculum. A university in Abu Dhabi, which is related to MIT, does so. All right? So it's difficult. This is the hard bit. You have to read between the lines. So if they're not very clear, we are clear, right? He, as marketing, says, when can we promote LSBU? Not yet. We're not validated. As soon as we are, we can. Because what we promise, we have to deliver. All right? So any university that promises first, you don't believe promises, look behind and say, have you got a piece of paper that proves it? That is the first test of the standard, the ethics of the university. Right? It's about ethics. Universities are all about values, right? So if a university promises, and you're thinking, how can the University of Cambridge give its degrees in Uzbekistan? No bloody way. Excuse the expression. So listen, look, and think a little bit. Don't believe. Just question. It may be true, but, universities, I tell you, in order to get LSBU validation or Westminster, you have to go through so much, right? And there's like 50 policies. There's so much bureaucracy. It's killing. But universities are all about bureaucracy. Because the only thing you have at the end of your education is 4 years of experience, friends, and a piece of paper, one piece of paper after 4 years, which says you've passed. And mum goes, right. And in 10 years, you're like, where's that piece of paper? You know, what did I do with my degree? And then someone telegrams you, that's my mate from university. All you remember is your mate from university. You're like, where's that piece of paper? You know, I can't remember what I did with it. I've got a new job, I'll have to find it from somewhere. So be careful. Look at what they say on the website. Look at how the website is presented. And look at what your friends say. Because sometimes it can be good experience, but the university hasn't got to that other point. All right? In Uzbekistan, it's more difficult because you're going to get a lot of new universities coming in promising a lot. And some of them will fail. This is a difficult environment for you. I don't like it for you, I must admit. I'll tell you what has happened. In Egypt, it went through the same thing. And now to set up a university in Egypt, you need $70 million. 70, of which 10 million is insurance in case it fails. Because they have learned that they come in, set up, fail, and students have got nowhere to go. So I think it will get better here because the government will realise what the problem is. But I say Westminster, MDIS, ourselves and others, we have because we have partners, we have to be very careful what we do. So if they don't have a partner, that's one sign, right? That's one sign. If they don't have a partnership agreement, a concrete one, then you're thinking, new university, where's all this money that's going to support it and the policies, right? So just you know, it's okay, some of them are going to be good, but some of them are going to be really bad. Okay, any other questions? No? I think it's time to go. You want to ask one, yeah? A what? Stand-up? Yeah, no. Stand-up comedian, yeah. And, I think I'm a bit like my daughter, you know. A comedian, yes. The thing is, I don't think I can be paid to be funny. Actually, I am being paid to be funny because it's called a rector. No, a friend of mine, sorry. Why I don't want to is a friend of mine wanted to be a comedian. And he thought he was very, very funny. He wasn't. And you know, if you ever have a friend like this who thinks they're really good at something, and then come along and listen to me. And I'm like, okay. So we went, I remember the first time, it was like, I listened to him, and nobody laughed. Nobody laughed in the audience. So there was my wife and myself and a few other friends who went, okay. And nobody laughed. I'm like, oh dear. And the worst thing was, he came back and went, was that really funny? And I'm like, didn't you listen to the silence? He said, I heard somebody laugh. And we're like, yeah, it was us. So the answer is no, because I don't think I'll be very funny. It's too much stress to be funny, you know? This is not comedy, but I can make it comedy, yeah? Anything else? If not, it's time for lunch. It's time for plov. All right? All we need is plov. Da, 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 da. Come on, it's a 1960s song. It's my generation. All we need is plov. Da, da. It's spelled, you know. Okay, thanks for listening. Is there anything else Nadia I need to do? Please, if you want to come to Team, which is a great place, right? No, I may see you at Team. If you are, we can have a cup of coffee together. Again, that's the difference. Other rectors will take money in the back pocket. I just pay for a cup of coffee for you. I don't know why, but I buy you a cup of coffee. All right, thanks everybody. Nice to see you. Have the rest of the time. Bye-bye.